Okay, hope everybody had a great spring break. It's too cold for spring break. I never know why the University of Alabama does spring break so early. And here in Georgia, or University of West Georgia, where I teach, we're in spring break this week. So kind of strange. Everybody takes spring breaks when it's not even spring yet. Isn't spring like today or tomorrow that it starts? I'm not sure, but you're taking spring break in the winter. It's kind of strange. All right, Tom, Kristen, Dave, and Michelle, good to have you here. Hey, I was grading your everything, and first of all, let's talk about the pursuit of happiness. A lot of you said that was hard to watch. Does anyone have a take on pursuit of happiness? And some of you guys shared your pursuit of happiness, which I thought was kind of good. And I thought it'd be neat if some of y'all would share your pursuit of happiness and what you took away from watching the film. Tom, you want to start us off?
I was afraid you were going to call on me.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I think my pursuit of happiness is about retirement now. I'm closing in on that milestone and have property at the coast and looking to build a house and buy a boat and do all the kind of things you save all your money for to retire on. So that's what I'm looking for right now.
Isn't that wonderful? And the thing is, a lot of people think, well, when you get to retirement, it's like giving up and you're just slowing down and doing nothing. But I tell you, I retired from my federal government job 2 years ago. No, I guess it's 3 years ago in 2021. Yeah, it's almost 3 years now. And I'm more content. I'm busier than I was when I was working. I get to spend more time with family. And it's a really, really happy time. So I know you're looking forward to that.
I am, yes.
So, Tom, what was the purpose of you going through this program?
You're talking about the master's program
Yeah,
in
yeah.
total?
What's your overall thing? You're at a point where you can retire comfortably. Was it that you wanted to help other people, or what's your whole plan in doing this?
Well, several things. One, I've always been interested in personal finance, so I've been involved in it to some extent. I have two financial planners that I work with, and they're both friends of mine. So I guess in my mind, they're both probably at the same point in life that I am, and they may be retiring soon, and then I won't have any financial advisors anymore. So just thought I needed to understand more about it, and whether they're still with me after the next few years or not. Regardless, at least I have a better sense of what to do as we're the next couple of years getting towards retirement and then in retirement, and be able to make some decisions without making any fatal mishaps.
So, one of the things I encourage people at a young age is basically put your money in the S&P 500 and that's it, chill. And so you're at an age now that you're closer to retirement. Talk to me about your perception of bonds as a makeup of your retirement portfolio.
I have some, but not a ton at this point. Probably not as much as I should for where I am from an age perspective and proximity to retirement. But I also we're getting ready to build a house, so I've taken some cash and put it into the CDs, and CDs are paying a pretty high interest right now, and so I'm trying to keep some of that money safe. So I guess that gives me some protection that I don't have from bonds, but I have some from the CDs. So I have a pretty good portion in CDs at this point. But um, fortunately, we've always worked in higher education, so we have a good pension, and hopefully some of the retirement plans don't really have to touch for a while. So I haven't really just put them heavily into bonds. I've kept them going into stocks and ETFs.
You're like me, I'm more of a risk taker, right? I have hardly anything in bonds. What I do carry is I carry in BIL, the bond ETF for treasury bonds, 1 to 3 month. And I can get in and out of those very, it's like trading in stock. It's like an ETF. It's very liquid. I can get out at any moment. Matter of fact, I think I sold about, I don't know, 150 shares of that today. I needed liquidity to do some of my options trades. So it's very good. Tom, did you also read my dissertation yet and do that assignment?
I did, yes, sir.
Talk to me about your take on the dissertation. A lot of people say I need to do that first because the definitions at the front were really helpful to people. So what do you think about the dissertation?
I would agree with that. I think a lot of the definitions were good. I have kind of struggled with the whole options thing, but and I never really heard about it or knew anything about it until this class. But I could follow along with you and get on the Schwab think and swim and sell some puts, but really understanding, especially the deltas and the I think kind of the meat of your dissertation had a lot of the different um, plus and minuses and the deltas, and that's what I don't really understand a lot of what that is.
So options trading probably doesn't have much for you in your future, right? I mean, it just kind of sounds like that it's just something that's kind of been neat to learn a little bit about, but it's not something that you're going to actively engage in.
Well, I looked at the I looked at the video of the what's the guy's name, Cordier.
Yes.
After looking at that, I may never get anywhere near options, but I guess just for 30 years or something, I've been more involved with mutual funds and stocks, and I'm more familiar. And I don't know if I understand them a whole lot better, but at least I have a little bit better grasp of that than I do options. So it may be, I don't know if I have a bunch of time in retirement and I'm bored, I may get into doing something like that, but I don't really foresee myself getting too involved in the options trading.
What I like about options, and I realize a lot of the students in the class will never be options traders, and I like covering it, and I cover it somewhat in detail because what I think that it does do is it makes you a better and quicker decision maker. So, make decisions, make quick decisions, be fast on your feet, make a decision one way or the other, instead of lingering and, just putting it off, put it off. With options, I love the data's right in front of me and I know what the deltas are, what the probabilities are, and I just quickly make those decisions. And hopefully, what you're taking from what we're doing in options is that you're going to become a much better and quicker decision maker.
Okay.
Yeah, so so yeah, I think it does lend benefit, even though you may not be an options trader in the future. Kristen, can you kind of share with us your take on the Pursuit of Happyness movie and tell us a little bit about your Pursuit of Happyness?
So my current pursuit of happiness is growing my business. I kind of wrote a little bit about in there how I never saw myself owning my own business, but
a couple of you mentioned that, and tell everybody what your business is.
Tax. Well, right now I'm doing a lot of tax preparation, but really trying to focusing more on tax consulting, advising, and planning. So very busy time right now, but yeah, so I never saw myself owning my own business. And then, COVID hit, which changed a lot, a lot of people's perspectives on life and what's important to them. It really highlighted that. So for me, somebody that I was working at another firm and the owner of the firm was like, I want to spend more time with my family. So I stepped up to the plate and ran her business kind of for a little while. And I was like, well, if I could do this for her, why can't I do it for myself? And that's how I kind of, came on this journey, and it's been awesome. So that's what I'm doing right now.
That is awesome. So one of the things that I tell people is there's two secrets of the wealthy, and one of them is in real estate, is the 1031 tax deferred exchange. In the stock market, it is 1256 contracts. And are you familiar with either one of those?
Oh, yeah. I advise a lot of my clients in the real estate business about the 1031 exchange. That is a huge, tax deferral advantage. So, yes, I'm completely in agreement with you on that.
What about 1256 contracts as far as the trading and things of that nature? That may be something that's a little less involved for you. Are you familiar with those at all?
I've seen it. I haven't gotten too into the weeds there with that, but I've heard of that before.
Yeah, so 1256 contract is basically futures contracts, SPX, /ES, /MES. gold futures, futures of all sorts are 1256 contracts, which is kind of cool because 1256 is the section of the IRS code that basically says 60% of the income from trading those particular futures is taxed at long-term capital gains rates, which are normally lower than ordinary income. So whereas you would usually have to hold an asset for longer than a year to get long-term treatment, I can hold something 2 seconds, flip it and make $50 profit, and that profit, 60% of it will be treated as a long-term capital gain and 40% is treated as ordinary income. So that may be something else that you look into as far as advising your clients. It's really big in the market as far as if they're dabbling in different underlyings. It's something that's really good as far as long-term capital gains. How long they'll let that do that is beyond me, but it's one of the secrets of the wealthy. It's almost as good. It's not quite as good as the 1031 tax deferred exchange, but what's your future business looking for? What is it that you see yourself doing down the line, as far as you grow in your business? I think entrepreneurship is something that we definitely should talk about in this class.
Yeah, so I just want to be able to offer as many services that I have a good knowledge about as possible to my clients. So, right now I can provide tax compliance services, tax planning, things like that, but having another area that I can help my clients out with in financial planning, I think would be amazing. And I know a lot of my clients have financial advisors, so I don't really see myself managing assets for my clients, but just having enough, knowledge to develop a financial plan with them, be more educated to have, high level conversations with those financial advisors. So really just being able to offer more to my clients is my goal.
And you do want to become a CFP, is that correct?
Yes, I do. I have the CPA designation now, and I would love to have the CFP as well.
Okay, wonderful. So did you also read over the dissertation?
I did, yes.
Okay, talk to me about your initial reaction. Now, I'm not trying to get you guys to blow smoke up my butt about my dissertation. I'm just trying to figure out, what did you learn? What was good? What was bad that you took out of the dissertation?
Well, I commented right away that I have never read a dissertation before. So I had no idea what to expect format-wise or language, but it was, I was able to read it, which was good. I had to reread, some of the formula sections and all that. But in terms of basic concepts, I was able to take away, some general concepts about options that I think, were good. Like, not one strategy is going to work for one person. And also one strategy is not going to work for one person at all points in time. So I thought that was interesting. Now, do you change? I know you have a formula. Do you change your formula, depending on kind of what's going on?
As far as what, the amount of risk that I take, or?
Yeah, the option, because I think you posted that you have a formula that you use for options. And I know in this dissertation you were saying that it's, the strategy might not work at all times. So do you change yours from time to time?
Yeah. So one thing, Kristen, and the rest of you guys, you need to think about this is volatility equals opportunity. So anytime there's increased volatility, there is increased opportunity. So when the VIX rises, and if all of you hopefully learned something about the VIX is the fear index, and the VIX measures the fear and the volatility on the S&P 500. That's what the VIX is. So as VIX increases, I use more collateral. I put on more trades. I'm larger in my trades. I take more opportunities than when volatility is low, because volatility is the only mean reverting asset. Now, this is something that you all need to realize as well. Volatility is the only mean reverting asset. You cannot tell me that Tesla stock will revert to its average. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that NVIDIA will revert to its average. That's not necessarily the case. The only thing that reverts back to its average is VIX, and the average VIX over the last 20 years or so is around 17. So VIX always goes back to 17. Right now, VIX is at 13 or 14. So it is low. And what that tells us is that the market right now is complacent. No one is fearful. No one is fearful. No one is concerned about Russia. No one's concerned about inflation. Nobody's concerned about anything. So the markets are very complacent. When everyone is greedy, as they are in the markets now, it's time for you to be fearful. When everyone is fearful, it's time for you to be greedy. So when fear goes up, I become greedy. When greed is evident, then I become a little more fearful now. Isn't that kind of cool, though? And VIX always reverts back to its mean. Let me just show that to you because I think this is cool. Now, I want you to think about in your own life, Kristen, and I have had, and some of you have had near-death experiences, right, to where it almost killed us. And I can remember in my life that in 2009, I went through a horrific automobile accident on I-20 near Birmingham. And I was in a wheelchair. The car flipped, and I flipped and went over the front seat, second seat, back seat, out the back window, and was laying on my stomach with a collapsed lung, and the other one was punctured, and I was gasping for breath. I thought that I was going to die. They put me into the ambulance, and I gasped and asked, am I going to live? I mean, literally, it was all that I could do to get out the words. And they basically told me that, hey, they're doing all that they can. So there was no guarantee that I was going to live. So I was in a wheelchair for 6 months, in the hospital for 51 days. And that was a volatile moment. Look at this. This is a chart of volatility. That was a volatile moment, right? This is February of 2020. This is COVID. Everybody sees VIX. VIX was cruising along. Oh, hiccup. It pops up. Then what does it do? It reverts back to the average. Up, fearful moment. VIX popped up way down here. Oh, then it reverts back to its average. COVID hits. What happens? Everybody's scared to death. And then what happens? This is a monthly chart too of VIX. This is monthly. What happened in the month? It went all the way down here, and then it subsides. Then look what happens in just a few months. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months or so. You're already back to VIX of around, nothing. Then look what happens. Fear comes back a little bit. Market goes down in 2022. And then what happens in 2023? Market goes up, VIX goes down. And now here's where VIX is, very, very low. But you can imagine it will increase. It will increase. It will increase. It is a repeating cycle. And the cycles go up and the cycles go down. So think about the situations in your life where it almost killed you, right? Here was my accident date, right? This is what it looked like. Volatility and fear were high. But guess what? Now in my life, here I am with volatility. Volatility is very low. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So fear is overpriced in the markets. Gosh, this is good. This is good. I want you to get this really good. Fear is overpriced in markets. That's how I am able to sell options that are juicy and fat. They are big. It's because of volatility. It's because of people scared to death of that black swan event happening. Most of the time, the black swan event doesn't happen. So I'm actually playing the role of an insurance agent. Now, I'm selling options down here. If the VIX were to go up here, I'm going to get hurt. Just like a casino would get hurt when someone pulls the slot machine and wins $1 million. Ouch, I got to pay it out. But I get month after month after month of consistent wins by selling these options that people, it's overpriced. The implied volatility in other words, what you expect volatility to be, is usually greater than the actual volatility. I'm in the back of the ambulance. I think I'm dying. I can't breathe. They say they're going to do what they can to save me. I thought I was dying. I thought it was over. But it turned out that that great fear that I had was overpriced. I actually lived, and that was in 2009. Today's 2024. I've got 15 extra years. And the fear index from that has gone down. Now, am I a more cautious and careful driver today? Yes. I cannot drive if I don't take one certain medication. I'm on a medication that alleviates my fears of driving. Because if I don't have that medication, I am fearful that I'm going to have another accident. If I were not on this one education, I wince when I'm driving. I'm like, when I see a car, it just scares me to death. But by taking that particular medication, it alleviates my fear down here instead of having it up here. But do I wear my seatbelt? Yes. Do I wear my seatbelt? Yes. My airbag light came on and the airbags were not working. Did I have that fixed? Oh, heck yeah. Right? I had a blowout. That's what caused my accident. Am I more cautious of looking at my tires now? Oh, heck yeah. We're not going to allow that to happen again. So fear is overpriced. Fear is overpriced. And because fear is overpriced, that's what allows us to sell these nice, juicy options and have all of this $48,233 worth of profit this year. That's how you do it. All right, good, Kristen. Thanks for sharing. All right, who are we out to next? Let's see. Tom, give me a thumbs up, or did you have something to say to Tom? Kristen gave a thumbs up. Kristen gave a thumbs up. Good. Okay. All right, Dave, tell us about your pursuit of happiness.
Well, right now it is focused also in tax season. So right now it's focused more on the work side of things, building a practice in the Northeast for a new firm and working on like a more of a national strategy leadership role, which is interesting and new and a lot of fun. After 415, it'll be focused on lowering my golf handicap. But
there you go. So Dave, is it your own business, or you just is it a business that you're involved with? What is it?
It's a national accounting firm. It's a kind of top 30 sized firm.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so what's your purpose in going through this CFP program? Is you want to become a CFP? What's your plan?
Yes, take the CFP, not ever really manage money. Again, I worked in the wealth management space for a little bit, but so much of what we do on the tax side is really financial planning focused, especially when working with like family office size clients. It's not all really just purely tax. I mean, a lot of it gets into insurance, obviously estate planning, retirement planning, a bunch of things like that. So covers kind of the broad spectrum of what we do.
And with your clients, would you say that fear is overstated? With your clients, they have fears and concerns when they come to you, undoubtedly, right? And most of the time, those fears are overstated. Is that how it works in the accounting world?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh God, we're going to go through this audit. It's going to be horrible. No, most of the time, it's not as bad as you think it's going to be, right?
It sucks more for us than the clients.
Yeah, I can imagine so. All right, what was your take on the dissertation, Dave? How did you digest that information?
I made a comment in my post as well that I was actually surprised. I mean, obviously it was no offense to you, but I went into it thinking it was going to be harder to read than it was. Just had never read a dissertation before. It was very easy to digest and understand. I appreciate some of the comments about kind of the risk management involved in making sure that it wasn't the entirety of your portfolio. It kind of reminded me of the hedge fundy strategy, where it was maybe not necessarily a funny money, but a small portion of the portfolio in the strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of heading towards even though it's more focused on the S&P 500 still, it's also still more diversified because it is S&P 500 focus, just different strategies around the S&P 500.
Yeah, I am of the belief that diversification is overkill most of the time. I think that a lot of portfolios are overly diversified. And my contention is that you're going to get below market returns by being so diversified. And what most of my students come back and say, well, sometimes the goal isn't market returns. And I have to remember that and keep that in the back of my head. There are people that don't necessarily want to beat the market. My idea is to overall beat the market. And there are people, or at least do what the market does. And there are people out there that want to be much more conservative than that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's good. Well, thanks, Dave, for sharing. Michelle, can you share with us your Pursuit of Happyness?
Sure. I'm not 100% certain. I'm going to be very honest. I've kind of spent the last decade and a half raising my kids, and so I really haven't had a career. I just kind of work part-time. So
But
they're older now,
Michelle,
and
isn't that more rewarding than the career?
It is. It is. I've loved it. I'm very blessed that I got to be able to do that. But
Yeah.
I'm realizing I'm going to have a lot of free time on my hand coming up, and I don't want to just be at home.
How old are
so I'm
they?
just kind of 15 and 13.
Okay, so you're getting ready, right? I mean,
Yep.
you can see it in the future that they're going to
I
be going
am.
off to college or whatever and having their own
Honestly,
lives.
next year when my daughter can start driving herself around, a lot of my responsibilities of chauffeuring are going to be taken off my plate. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to get this so that when they are doing their own thing and I'm not needed, I have something to do. I'm not 100% certain where I'm going to go with this. I'm very interested in the topic, even if I just use it for myself and my husband's and my kids, financial foundations. That's good enough for me. But I'm trying to have a plan of what I want to do when they are not, my sole focus anymore.
So you don't necessarily know what the plan looks like, but you think maybe
Nope.
becoming a CFP will be involved in it somewhere,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
that is
And you're working on the master's or the undergraduate?
the master's.
Master's. Okay. What's your undergraduate in?
It was psychology, and then I completed all the coursework for human development and family studies, and then just life got in the way and that didn't get finished.
Okay.
But I did use that with my children, so it worked out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the psychology classes. I love psychology. I took every psychology class I could think of. Number one, they were always easy, and number two, they were always interesting. Right.
Yes.
So I love that. I don't know why they were easy. They seemed easier than the other class, probably because I was so interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Michelle, did you have a chance to scan over the dissertation? Just kind of get your takeaways from it.
I did. I looked over it. Call options, I don't know why it's confusing to me. Like I'll read it and I'm like, oh, this makes sense. And then I try to think about putting it into effect and I'm like, I don't know why there's a disconnect there. But I understand what you're saying. I knew what was going on. I still don't know that I would ever use it. I'd have to get a lot more comfortable just working in that because we really honestly, besides investing like the top % of our money into our retirement, we don't have a lot of other things going on. So I'm not comfortable with that at the moment at all. So I got the points of it. I understand what you're saying. I don't know why it's still kind of confusing to me. I don't know.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And like I say, it's good for me to kind of get to know you guys and kind of what you want from the course, right? I mean, if y'all were all like, oh my God, I have to know more about these option strategies. This is the greatest and, whatever, then we would dive more into that. But from what I'm getting from you guys is, it's interesting, but it's probably something that I'm not going to pursue outside of the class.
Yep.
Good, good. Thanks, Michelle. Hey, Jason, what's your pursuit of happiness?
I'd say I'm kind of headlong into it right now. I'm mid career. I'm up here in Seattle area. We build small rocket engines, so I love my day job, and but the kind of the reason for it, Pursuit of Happyness, obviously, is it revolves around our kids and family and stuff like that. And But my pursuit right now is solidifying, the work optional date, because we've been, marching to not having to work here in a few years. And I would transition over to go be a high school finance or teacher when my kids are in high school. That's kind of, it's a huge career pivot I'm looking at doing here in maybe 6 years or so.
No, that sounds fun. Yeah, that sounds fun. I think that would be very rewarding. I speak to lots of high school groups throughout the school year, and it's just so rewarding. I went to a class the other day, and I said 3A equals 6. What is A? And everyone knew that A was 2. And I said, what is compound interest? Not a single person knew. So we're teaching algebra, but we're not teaching the compound interest that will fundamentally revolutionize somebody's finances and allow them to retire and to have the retirement that Tom is going to have or that you're going to have, And it's really great to even hear my college kids at West Georgia. A lot of you guys are more career oriented, but the kids that I have at West Georgia are, they're college age kids, most of them. And their question to me was, how come no one ever taught us this in high school? So it's great to have people like that would be able to share that with people in high school.
Yeah, the whole reason for taking this course for me is this is the first time I've taken formal education just purely interest based. I have no desire to be a CFP. I just have a personal passion for personal finance, and I know I have some blind spots for like estate planning and some insurance stuff and some various other parts of it. And I had this GI Bill sitting around. I was like, well, what the hell do you want to do? Just pursue more education that I love. And I was like, I found this Alabama online course. That's why I'm here.
Oh, that's awesome, Jason. That's awesome. I'm glad you're a part of it. And I'm glad that you guys are part of a class that we actually have a live class where we can talk about things. And if you got questions or comments or concerns about anything, that we can actually meet together. One of the things that I did not like about my time in Alabama is a lot of the lectures were 5 or 6 years old, and they were all dated materials. And I mean, I don't know. It seems to me like if you're going to go to education, that the professor ought to at least show up and meet you guys face to face and allow you at least the opportunity to engage and be part of the class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, the other couple of classes I'm taking right now, it's I almost feel like I'm just like, I'm engaging with a computer. Do this by this date. So,
yeah,
I really enjoy this, the virtual, this piece of it, actually having a live class.
Good. And what was your takeaway from the dissertation?
Full disclosure, I'm only halfway through it, but what I have taken away from it is, kind of reiterate some of the other comments, is I do appreciate just kind of the plain language of it. I do agree that I would going forward, if this was brought more earlier on into the timeline of the course, I felt it was a lot more easy to digest. But I'm still in this kind of like, I get it theoretically. I have a hard time with the mechanics of it. It's not something I want to pursue, other than I love learning about different types of investment, and I want to learn about it because I feel like it's just my nature to like, I don't understand it. I have to learn about it, but I could see myself just kind of tinkering around, in the future with it. But so it's very interesting, but not part of my personal, like, even if it's 1 or 2%, not investment strategy by any means.
Sure. Got it. Okay, good. All right, guys. Great class today. I appreciate everyone sharing. Hey, has everybody, Jason, you've already done, or was it Dave that did the next assignment? Someone said they couldn't see the week 11 discussion. Does everybody see the week 11 discussion? Just want to make sure you guys all have that. Let's see. What is the week 11 discussion? Give me a second And we'll see what that is. Just want to make sure everybody can see. One person has done it already, so I'm thinking that they can do it. Let's see. Week 11 discussion is my written trading plan. Everybody's doing my written trading plan, and you should be reading The Simple Path to Wealth. Anyone got any questions on The Simple Path to Wealth? I think it's a very good book. It's just so simple and straightforward. A great way to think about your retirement and your investments. Okay. All right. If no one has anything else, then I will see you all next Wednesday. Y'all have a great week. Bye-bye.
All right, you too.